Hey, hey, everyone. It is your favorite CEO, Miss Flo, and you are watching and listening to Go with the Flow, a podcast that I have created where I have the opportunity to talk about anything and everything that I want because I created it. Um, this is also an opportunity for me as an educator, a Black entrepreneur, um, Black woman in America to provide a platform where I could give my perspective on everything that's going on in front of me. For today's co-host, I have Marcel. Welcome back, Marcel. It's good to have you on the show. It's been a hot minute. How have you been?
Thank you, thank you. It's always great to be here. I've been doing pretty well. Flo, as you may know, I started a new job not too long ago, maybe about a month and a half, almost 2 months ago, and things have been going really smoothly. Uh, we're 1 month away from graduation, and that's also exciting. And so I just kind of been focusing on some personal things.
Well, that's great to hear. Just a little side note. So I tried to surprise Marcel at his job. I think it was like last Friday or the Friday before,
Hmm.
because like I was shopping for my cosplay for the upcoming villain ball. That's May 20th. More details on that towards the end of the show. And I thought, give a little surprise because I haven't like seen you in person in a while.
Hmm.
And when I go up there, you off that day. I was
Yeah,
gagged.
yeah.
But we will have more opportunities to hang out. Good news is, my spring break is not next week, but the week after that. So that'll give you more time for us to catch up in person and really just have a good time. Because I miss you so much.
I miss you too.
But this has been a pretty interesting week. Just a few updates at work. So we're having a photo and art gallery. This will be the first one that we're having at our school with in partnership with our art teacher, Miss Abney. Shout out to her. She's been absolutely great. She has given me some amazing talented artists on her roster. And we'll be making our school's history for this first annual event. If you follow me on Instagram at Noir Vibes DC, I posted a request for any local photographer or artist to hit me up and really participate to network with our scholars and judge their work for we have two contests, one a photo contest and a art contest. So we've been working out the logistics for that and it just feels like everything has just been going so smoothly. And especially it's shocking for me because I'm a person like I emphasize networking, but it's like such a challenge for me just to like to follow up with people. Most of the time when I do that, it's like people were just saying it to saying it and don't really mean it. If you listen to the first season, the first episode of the podcast, you will know that experience. Um, so that kind of really uh deterred me from really networking and collaborating with other people. But this time around, like I'm feeling pretty good. Like there's a lot of people. I won't say like official names yet, but just to shout out also Pretty in Paint, who I've promoted on this show before. I'm even wearing her earrings right now. Has agreed to come. I've also had some alumni who in the journalism photography field that have agreed to come through. So it's really a beautiful thing, and I appreciate them so much. I know it's Let me give them a couple shout outs really quick because like it was I love. Oh my God. Sorry, some post that's on. But yeah, I've been reaching out to a few people like Rose Productions, um, Shady. It's not his real name. That's his Instagram name. Hold on. Savon Omesh. I'm pretty confident I said that right. But if I mess up your name, I'm so sorry. But just to shout them out, because really getting people involved in the school community, especially with high school students, because a lot of people are reluctant to work with our young people. I appreciate them so much for that they're gonna volunteer their time for this event, and that's just huge to me. So I appreciate you guys so much, and hopefully we'll get some more on board. Um, but yeah, I feel like this has just been a pretty good week. It was just hot. We in DC we were experiencing summer for 2 days. How have you been able to brave the heat, Marcel?
Let me tell y'all something. I had to work 3 days in a row this week, 10 a.m. to 6 o'clock, which isn't bad, right?
Hmm.
But when I tell you, I was feeling like that episode of I don't know how many of y'all watch American Dad, but there's this episode where they do like this old timey like um play episode, and like they be like, "Damn this weather, damn this heat," and like they wipe the sweat off their head because like the AC is broken in like the skit or whatever. It's been too motherfucking hot in DC. And this is crazy because we've been 100 plus in DC before, like as far as like heat. And I used to be a person where I used to be kind of a little insane, and I would be wearing like black or like I would wear like something long sleeve. It won't be too thick, but it'd be long sleeve, and I'd be perfectly fine. Like I'd be a little, cooked. But this heat, it's something about it in the morning, and my job want to have the air conditioning on 2% is not working for me. And then
It
y'all gotta understand, like I'm not a morning person anymore like I used to, and I'll be about to pass out already because I'm tired. Imagine being tired and then having some heat hit you, and you about to fall out like stocking clothes and all this other stuff. It's just too much. It's too much. And then
it was bad in our building too. The air won't kick in until the spring break. But I was like, my room has the only, I think, one of the few spots in the building that I could control the
Mhm.
air conditioning. And I had to like keep it cold because we have kids that have asthma, especially in my program. So we already had this plan. Like if it gets too hot, like you feel like you're gonna pass out or have a medical emergency, get a pass for your teacher and come to my room. I had to accommodate Miss, Agnes class, because it's like she's on the top floor of our building. You know how like heat rises to the top. So everybody on the top floor was like baking. Like this is mm. No. I feel like we should have had like classes outdoors. Like just open up the field, put us on the bleachers. You know what I mean? Because it was hot. Like it was cooler outside than it was indoors. Like it's just humid. We smelling everybody. It is
Oh
this.
yeah, and a lot of people don't have good hygiene, and sometimes not part of their control. Y'all are in a high school, and people are
Yeah.
just starting puberty and everything, so people don't have no control over like how their body is changing. But it just be too much, and it's something about this heat that's been different. 'Cause it's been like an in or out heat.
Mhm.
Like I don't know if anybody's ever felt like flushed before or like embarrassed, and like you feel like that heat radiates your face, like you're blushing. Like it's like an outer heat like that, and it just like stays. It's just too much. Like no.
Mm-mm. It was a lot. Like I felt bad for a lot of my coworkers. Um, and like for our scholars. Like one student said, like he just like fell asleep. Like he just like passed out. You know what I mean? Because it's just like it's
Y'all can't really
exhausting.
play with that over there, because didn't y'all have a football player like pass from like a heat stroke or something? like years ago, like
Or
2017, I think.
they like passed away as a result, but probably some like medical emergency. But like I
Hmm.
told them, like, yo, if you feel like a medical emergency, just like get a pass and come to my room. Like it was just hot, everybody irritable. It was too much, too much. And then today it wants to be cold. Like this weather back and forth, like it's gonna make people sick. Pneumonia season. Mm-mm. But
Mm-mm.
it's a lot. It's gonna be a lot. Um, but we got through it, you know. So yeah, yeah. I'm grateful that we survived that heat, and hopefully, I think next week it won't be as hot. And I cross my fingers because, like, it's a few days. We have 3 days of instruction. We have holistic forums, and then Emancipation Day that Friday. So school will be out, and then we're gonna have our glorious spring break. Just a quick
Excellent.
question: do you think that students should have a spring break packet?
No, I feel like the whole point of having a break from school is that you don't have work.
Mm,
And it's not like it's like summer break where like they're like 3 months of them not having any type of content or like refreshers. Like 2 weeks or a week and a half is just like a week, you know?
mm-hmm.
That's no different from you taking off a week of school from you being sick. So it's like you won't really. It's not like you're not remembering the information.
I know admin is like really pushing for like to have a spring break uh packet, but I'm just like our kids are physically and mentally exhausted, like really stressed out. And if you are AP or dual enrollment student, your workload is doubled. That's a lot. That's you know what I mean? So me personally, most of my work can't be done unless you got the equipment. So, and I'm not about to draft a packet like full of refresher. Like we're gonna do like maybe a Kahoot review. Let me like come back or whatever, but like I'm not doing a packet. Like I can't. Sorry, not sorry. I just think like if you're in college, you don't have work, you're submit. You know what I mean? Like they don't really
Right.
give you that. It's like people just need to understand like you just need the time to yourself. You need time
Yeah,
to
and school can be
reflect.
overwhelming.
You know what I mean? And just breathe. Sit in stillness. Take your break. You know what I mean? But let's not like overwhelm our scholars. You know what I mean? I feel like that
Exactly.
would definitely increase productivity. And I feel like a lot of workers are doing it. I saw like a post. I didn't get a chance to put it in the show, but like I saw a post like how I think I can't remember which Asian country it was. It was either Vietnam or Japan, where they have nap time. They don't
Hmm.
penalize their workers for nap, and then again, productivity rose. So it's just like part of the education also is like you also have to teach them to rest and meditate, and just take the time to just breathe as opposed to being um grossly overwhelmed. But I just work here. All right. We have a lot to talk about this episode with the overall topic or theme of the topic is like voices being silenced. There's a lot of crazy things that are going on in the news. But before we get into like the negative, I always like to try to start with some good news. Now, bear with me. I was having some technical difficulties with the screen sharing with this first topic, but New Jersey just recently passed a law. Basically, it's a trans new safe haven. So,
Hmm.
of course, we heard like in the past month or so, like how many states, like I think Tennessee, Florida, and Texas are passing anti-trans bills. Um, and that is awful. To be honest, I work with uh like one trans student in my after school program, and um, and then I have some past students that later came out as trans. So, in high school, and that's like such a huge change from years past because most people, like when I was growing up, didn't really fully come out or transition till after high school. You know what I mean? Like they started becoming their authentic self in college where they felt like we was inferior or like post high school, you know? So when you see more young people that are being honest with themselves, but may not be accepted, whether it's in their own family or in their friend circle, that's already hard. And then you have these legislations that are being passed throughout the country and possibly more in the future that invalidate their existence. Like, just check on your trans friends, for one. Like, please check on
Hashtag
them.
Trans Lives Matter.
Yes, like, please make sure that they are okay because this is a very hard time. But to hear New Jersey to come out and say that we see you, we validate your existence, we're going to make sure that you get gender affirming health care, that is the type of news that we really need to hear. Now, what you are seeing on the screen is a website called transgenderlawcenter.org, and they have created the National Equality Map, where they are keeping track of LGBTQ legislations and have ranked each state, basically if it's gay friendly or not. So just to break down this map, if you can't see it, and if you're listening on the podcast, I will post this link in the description because y'all need to see this. Um, so if you're dark green, you have like you're super supportive. Like if you're like an olive green, you're still like high up there, you know what I mean? Fair is tan, and then orange and red, like you're homophobic. So let's take a if I'm just gonna let me go to New Jersey just so you can see how this is mapped out. All right, so this is New Jersey's equality profile. So they also show like their population. Uh, Overall, their population of LGBTQ adults is 41% with, and as of the population of 2020, they have 343,000 uh members of the Alphabet Mafia and 4% in the workforce with 205 200 205,000 LGBTQ workers. Okay. And overall, like sexual orientation policy tally, they rank fairly high. Like they're 17.5 out of 20.5. And with their gender identity policy, 21 out of 22. Fairly high. This is very good, New Jersey. And then they kind of go in more detail in terms of like what policies they specifically have, whether it's um same-sex marriage rights, um, adoption policy for same-sex couples, uh, assistance with reproduction, state family leave, make sure that they have equity in housing, employment, credit lending, things like that. They say make sure they have no anti-gay or anti-LGBTQ policies that are like discriminatory. You know. Now to compare New Jersey to Florida, okay. So you look at Florida's population. Florida's population is pretty gay. Is 886,000 gay people as of 2022 in Florida. 545,000 working. Okay. that's gay. Their policy for like in regards to like sexual orientation is 3.25 to 20.5. Gender identity policy is a zero. It's not even charting. It is a zero. Like for Florida to have a larger gay population and have little to no legislation to support that population, bananas. Bananan. It is bananas. Like I really think Florida's pretty gay. You have Miami, Orlando, Disneyland. Come on, like you mean to tell me that no support? Nada. That's foul. Florida, you can't stand for this. Like this, y'all have a significant larger population than New Jersey. And then look how New Jersey is treating the LGBTQ with kindness, serving support on a platter. And Florida get the Floridians, the gay Floridians get this. This is disgusting. This is heartbreaking. And like this is. But I would just say again, thank you, New Jersey, for being or setting the bar, being the example. And there's other states that like I was just like, hold on, let me go back to the big map because like I know I'm focused on Florida, but like there are other states that are supportive. Like in the dark green, definitely the West Coast, California, gay, Nevada, gay, Oregon, gay, Washington, gay, DC, gay, New York, gay. Like definitely like in the upper Northwest. This is a very gay forecast. In the upper Northwest, right here, you're gonna get a lot of support and legislation up here. Surprisingly, in Minnesota and Illinois, very supportive. Michigan and New Mexico following behind. Um, we're gonna advise to stay out of the red and orange states. South, no. Definitely. Wait, if let me see what Tennessee is giving, because we're gonna talk about them later in this show. They're in the negative? Oh my God, you could be in the negative. Because I was like, Florida was considered low with like a zero with their gender identity. And then for Tennessee, it is a negative 1.75 out of 20.5 for sexual orientation policy. And their gender identity policy is a negative 8.75 out of 22. That is, ooh, this is, come on, y'all. So, like, and I've been talking about this too, like having, this could, like, always be considered like the Green Book. You know what I mean? Like as y'all are traveling through this country and as my students, as they are going to be branching off to different schools across the country, like they should be looking at this. They need to see and make sure like whatever school they go to, like they have laws to protect them. And I think if we stop supporting states that are not inclusive and is not protecting all of their people, they shouldn't get the money. Shouldn't go to their schools. Like I know they're like well let me say this. Like I know like in Texas there's like the liberal city of Austin that is, would they be considered a safe haven. But most of their voices won't be heard because of redistricting, and they're just they're just sitting in like a very homophobic state where their gay population won't be supported. This is maddening. This is upsetting. This is devastating. Um, Prayers go out to anybody that's in the South that is gay. Hope that that you will be okay, and hopefully one day there'll be change. But like this is what America looks like. This is America. Mm-mm-mm. Shake my head. That was a lot. Now, hearing those statistics, Marcel, how does that make you feel?
Um, it's not really surprising to me. Uh, Outside of our other conversations we've had, excuse me, the world at this point does not fail to surprise me whatsoever. We have so many backhanded and fraudulent people in power who want to be voted into power and
Mm,
or be placed secondary in power and act like they appeal to a certain audience, and it's like once they get what they want they can flip the script, you know.
mm,
And this isn't the first time we've seen it for any sort of minority, black people, queer people, and everything in between and mixed. And it's just so crazy how we've come so far, um, and this is how we're still treated and perceived. Like people can't even come out their homes with their spouses and just be accepted. Like I need people to understand that at the end of the day, whether it's a homophobia, transphobia, etc., uh, that you are the people that are making this bigger than what it seems to be.
for sure.
Trans people and queer people, everywhere under the queer umbrella, we're not our sexual preferences or orientations. That's just part of who we are. And you sit here and you put this label on us because it's so against your views or your values. And at the end of the day, you're doing things that are actually harming people. Like you're really sitting here saying that people can't, get married or uh, appear to be themselves at their jobs or wear their hair or wear clothes that affirm like who they are, and you're sitting here taking away the littlest thing, which is just like even freedom of speech. Like people aren't even allowed to come out and be like, "This is who I am,"
Mm,
or just be happy and live their lives. We're not the people making everything such a big deal, or shoving it down your throats, or hypnotizing your children, or going against your traditions. You can perfectly do that and not care about what we're doing.
mm,
Because at the end of the day, when I close my door and lay my head in my bed at night, I'm not worried about you. So it's just like having that amount of respect and just minding your own business, and we would get a lot further as people. And it's just kind of ridiculous because we just legalized marriage in what, particularly in like DC, like what, in the 2010s. So how do we go from that to telling people they can't even just be who they are? It's
right,
like not even just 10 steps forward, 2 steps backwards. It's like 20 steps backwards and like a half a step forward.
right. And you're absolutely right. I feel like there was so many milestones that the LGBT community were able to jump over. And in the recent years, especially during the Trump administration, so many of those laws and protections have been reversed. And it's devastating. So, but I'm pretty sure programs like the as you saw the Transgender Law Center and other similar organizations are not only actively monitoring, excuse me, not only actively monitoring these policies, but are advocating to put protections in place. So, like, and again, there is some hope. There it's not just New Jersey. There are you saw various other states that are in the good fight. It's just a matter of not just putting like state by state legislation, but having implementing federal protection. That's the next step. So some other good news. Trump got arrested and he's in court. So, like I think it was like a week or two ago, like he announced on Twitter that he was going to be indicted and be arrested. And he was trying to get his supporters, to me, in my opinion, with that tweet, he was trying to incite another insurrection. And it was like, no, we're not having that. So, but like the way he was arrested, it was like, where was the handcuffs? Where was it? Because all we saw was him like waving to the people, putting his fist up in the air. People have been his Republican Party constituents have been comparing him to Nelson Mandela and other civil rights. Jesus, he was compared to Jesus. The delusion is real. So, if for those that missed it, and in case you don't know, like why he's being arrested, just like a couple quick notes. So, he's being indicted on 34 charges. This is all related. It's like falsification of business records in the first degree. The charges are related to $130,000 in hush money payment, um, by lawyer Michael Cohen to adult film star Stormy Daniels just before the 2016 election in order to prevent her from talking about her allegations that they had an affair with Trump in 2007. Donald Trump is dumb. Like, dumb, dumb. Because, um, first of all, if President Bill Clinton had a whole affair in office, there was a whole impeachment thing. The most, like, okay, so, like, here's the thing. Y'all politicians need to stop lying and trying to cover up these affairs. Most importantly, you need to stop having these affairs. But if you did it, it's easier for you to just admit that you did it. Not try to cover it up, not really lie about it, because that's when you really get into legal trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so what? You had an affair in 2007. You wasn't president yet. You wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, how would that really hurt? And then most of your supporters don't really care anyway. If they didn't care that you were grabbing women by their vaginas or boasting about that, didn't really care that your businesses have failed and you filed for bankruptcy. You know what I mean? Like, if your supporters don't really care. So you did all of this, allegedly, to cover up something that nobody really cares about. This like so-called Republican and Christian values been left the party. We saw that with the governor race in Atlanta, Georgia. What's that dude's name? Like Walker, who was like, how many women did he pay to get an abortion? It was a lot. It was more than one, I believe. Y'all can check that. If I'm wrong, just just let me know in the chat or in the comments. But like, you put yourself. He should be charged with more than just this. He should be held accountable for the January 6th insurrection. on everything. That may be coming up because I heard like Mike Pence, he agreed to testify. He talking. So I don't, so that may be on the way, but right now that we're on this case, this was a beyond a dumb move, and I'm like, yo, whose money did he use? Did he use his own money or did he use taxpayer money? I feel like if he used his own money, I don't think they they would really care. This is not white collar crime is a little outside my wheelhouse. I hope is that he gets convicted and if he goes to jail, don't send him to Club Fed. If you don't know what Club Fed is, basically it's like for white collar criminals that um basically create do like financial based crimes. Like they're non-violent offenses, but like they scam people out of money, they misappropriated funds, things of that nature, that would be considered like white collar crime. You know, and this thing is like Club Fed where the prisons are not as um it's almost like a spa. Again, going back to American Dad, if you there's an episode where Stan like goes to prison. I forgot what it was for, but it was like he met Wesley Snipes. They were having the time of their lives. They were playing kickball. You know what I mean? Like almost like a country club type deal. It's like I don't want that. Like he needs to go to prison. Like he needs like he should, and I don't want house arrest either because I feel like that's the other thing. Like they if they don't send him to jail, they might send him under house arrest. Like no, like he needs to serve actual time. We have to show that nobody is above the law. We've been been known or we are aware of there's separate justice systems for marginalized groups of people of color, you know? But if it is truly land of the free, if justice is to be balanced in this country, then he needs to serve time in an actual prison. No countdown and lockdown. As soon as he convicted and that verdict is in, they need to haul him away because he is a flight risk. He still has money and wealth. Homie, well, he has, or allegedly has, Russian connections. He will fly to Russia, and Putin will hide him. Lock this man up as soon as the verdict is done. That's what I need. That's what I need to see. Russell, how do you feel about this? Where were you when you heard that he was being arrested?
I mean, this should have happened post election. You know, like we needed him behind bars from the jump when he started grabbing women by their coochie. So it's just like we need him out of here ASAP behind bars today, like right now as I'm speaking, even before I even got home. You know, so it's just I don't know. I feel like with certain people in politics, it takes them so long to actually like get rid of them. I mean, they tried to impeach him that one time, so it was just like, it's just too much. Just get him out of here. It's just a terrible person, terrible values, and people always want to speak about how he wants to make America a better business. But at the end of the day, if you want this business mentality, a lot of y'all don't even like to work in the first place.
Mm,
So imagine being overworked and just by living. Y'all don't know what that is. Y'all not business people. Y'all just want to be picked by a white person, and that's that. And
mm,
it's the wrong person too.
oop, 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 oop. But yeah, so hopefully that I've seen. I don't know if this is true or not. This was just going on the Twitters that that the charges are not strong enough or whatever. But I'm just like most of the time Trump be incriminating himself. Like even on Fox News when that whole incident where he like brought documents home. from the White House and on his personal property. Like he admitted that.
And like it's never like something under the rug either. He's always very. I feel like he likes to get off about how much he can get away with, and that's just his tea, you know. So he gets away with a lot, especially for him to have so many connections, even outside of politics. Because like his father was a businessman, correct too. Like Trump is not self-made, so
Right. He benefits off generational wealth.
mm,
His business had flopped. He is a scammer. Trump University was a scam.
I forgot
He
all
should
about that.
he should have been arrested for that. There are a lot of things that he should be arrested for, but hasn't. And like hopefully karma will come in and he will get his just due. Fingers crossed. Oof. Speaking of power hungry creators, so I don't know if you've been seeing this on social media, but I follow a lot of black cosplayers, black nerds, blurds, if you will, a black nerd. And I really enjoy that community, just seeing people like myself really just relish in their love of comics, anime, pulp culture, and giving these nuanced commentary that you wouldn't normally see or get from like maybe Watch Mojo or other comic book reviewers and things like that. Like I love Hellspawn Cosplay. I love Fantastic Frankie. If you don't know who they are, please follow them. Um, but in the past couple weeks, there's been some turmoil in the Blerd community. So, if you are familiar with Black Sands, I was following him for a little bit. He is this comic book creator who created like it's a black comic book. I haven't read it, but I do appreciate him for creating some form of representation for our community. Characters that are based in ancient Egypt. Um, And he has been doing very well for himself. He was featured on Shark Tank. Kevin Hart and Mark Cuban um, backed his creation. I believe he'll be coming up with an animation soon, possibly an anime. So things are going very well for him. And then we have like a black woman commentator, very similar to the other people that I have, listed earlier. I won't say her name because like she has been attacked for her views on Black Sands. So the creator of Black Sands, let me get his name because a lot of people are not trying to like really say his name, like he's Voldemort, um, just so that he won't get. They're expressing their disapproval of what he's doing, but I guess like it's not to give him any more press. But I really wanted to talk about this because recently started like with this last past year going into the second year um doing commentary on like movies, TV shows, things of that nature. And also being a supportive of like black owned businesses, black owned creation, like black stories, things of that nature. So what is his name? So his name is Manuel Godot.
Mm.
So he's been doing very well on his company. He has 184,000 followers on Instagram, just about. Like I said, he's gotten support from Kevin Hart and Mark Cuban with Black Sands. He uh he just announced that he got through like the audit and they're like finalizing like contracts and deals. So he's doing very well for himself. So it's just like, why is he so upset that this black woman who gave her opinion about, his comic book or his franchise, like, yeah, I'm assuming she had some critiques, maybe gave some a negative review, whatever, and that is her right to do that. If she saw some flaws with it, she can say that. I mean, when you put your art out there, we don't expect everyone to be a fan. We don't expect everybody to receive it or understand your creation. And it's within their right, if they were able to break it down and critique and give their feedback on it, then it's within their right to say, like, I didn't find this very interesting. I have flaws or like issues with X, Y, and Z, da da da. Let it be. The critique, that's part of the business. You know what I mean? Then Black Sands decided to target this woman, get their followers to report her page, to call it bullying. And I'm like, that's not bullying. She wasn't causing harm. Even if she, not if, but like, if her giving like negative feedback on it wasn't going to hurt your following. Like, it really wasn't. You already build up enough people to really get your product off the ground. And again, it's backed by Kevin Hart and Mark Cuban. Enough said, you're secure, you got the bag. Her negative review was not going to impact your product. But the fact that you decided to pull this stunt, because I unfollowed. I'm gonna be transparent. Like, I was following him, and then I unfollowed because that is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I don't know if this was her full-time gig, giving reviews and things like that. But what if it was? And instantly, her voice is being silenced because she gave a negative critique. Now we understand, like, sometimes, things not being perceived well may hurt um, some businesses. Is everybody gonna like the food? No. But you always have some people that do. So it's just like attacking this person, like, it's childish. It is like it's showing like very thin skin. You have to understand, like, when you put your art out there, whether it is a comic book, an art piece, a photo, a movie or a TV show, it may be well received. It it may not right now, and then later on it builds a cult following. Like Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus was not real well received at all when it first came out. But decades later, huge cult following. Enough to like bring back into like give Hocus Pocus 2. So this and then it brings up like this other issue. It's like, okay, now we're seeing turmoil within the Blerd community, right? And we always want to promote black brands, black owned brands. So it like begs the question, and you guys, if you're watching, you can answer this in the chat and join the conversation. And and asking this for you, Marcel, is like, at a certain point, like, can or are we able as a Blerd community to critique other Blerd content without consequence? Like, when, like, it was like, I'll give you an example. If you There was a Blackish, it wasn't like Blackish show, but the creator of Blackish had a show on Netflix. And there was this episode where he was critiquing another black movie creator, director, writer, whatever you for his movie. In his opinion, he was like, the movie wasn't good, but he caught so much heat from everybody else because it looked like he was just crapping on a black creator. But I'm just like, well, if it wasn't technically good, I mean, you don't have to co-sign on it. It's not like we're not supporting our own, but it's just being fair and objective. Sometimes we have to take, our goggles off as black people and just really give necessary critiques. That's the business. You know what I mean? So that is not to put anyone down or discourage or try to interfere with somebody's bag. If anything, I would hope that he would listen to what she was saying and maybe improve his product. But no, he decided to be problematic and trying to wipe this girl off the internet. Now, to be honest, I didn't hear her critique. I didn't stumble across her page. I didn't see any of that. Well, one, I'm not on TikTok. Um, I think it's all happened on TikTok. I'm mostly on Instagram. But like I didn't see it. But I saw how people were reacting to his to this critique and being childish and problematic. That's what I saw. And so now that has discouraged me from following and possibly supporting him in the future because of this behavior. Like hearing all of this, like Marcel, how do you feel about it?
He did the wrong thing. Um, hmm. I don't know.
It's like you're kind of torn. It's like, okay, so do you feel that we should just, even if the product isn't as great, should we just
Hmm.
blindly support black-owned businesses, or can we critique them the same as we would critique any other
Okay,
brand or
so I
product?
feel this. I'm going to use a word analogy. I use the same concept for a lot of black queens on Drag Race, and a lot of my friends who I watch Drag Race with, or who I had watched Drag Race with, are always like, "You're so critical of like black queens when it comes to like these white queens who have like the same thing." Because I kind of like the same kind of queen. I love like a Bendy LaCreme, Trixie Mattel, right?
Mhm.
Very comedy queen that can act, sometimes sing, dance, and they're quirky. I'm not really into like super high fashion all the time, and a lot of
Mhm.
since fashion and other arts are so incorporated into black culture, sometimes I feel like a lot of the black queens bring the same thing, but that's also the same argument for the white queens, right? But
Mhm.
I always want us to show why we're, you know, black underscore 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 magic because we just have some essence about us that's so much like better, you know?
Right.
But at the end of the day, I do feel like all businesses and all people should be looked at equally. Why should we um, have such a high expectation of black people? I do
Mhm.
think we have to. I do think that we should still hold ourselves to that standard because we do have to work, 10 times as hard. But that should be our bare minimum. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like we should already be meeting that quota that we have to be just as better, and then bring our little twist in it.
Mhm.
Um, I think it was who was it that said that? Octavia Spencer.
Mhm.
She's the one from How to Get Away with Murder, correct?
Is it? Wait, no. I think you mentioned somebody. No, not Octavia. It's Viola Davis. How to Get
There we
Away with
go.
Murder.
Viola Davis. She talked about was it Viola Davis? Who am I thinking of?
What do you think about Kerry Washington?
Mm-mm. I'm thinking about I forget what actress it was, but she was sitting there basically talking about how um she basically they started comparing her to the Black Meryl Streep. I believe it's
I think it may be Viola Davis.
I think it's Viola Davis.
I think, yeah.
Octavia Spencer's the one that's always in the comedies. You know,
Yeah.
she plays like that very quiet, like kind of deranged. She was one in Ma. There we go. Um, it was Viola Davis, I believe, and she was talking about how like people always want to compare her or like call her the Black Meryl Streep, and she basically talked about how um why can't she just be herself, or like if you're gonna call her Black Meryl Streep, why isn't she paid just as much as Meryl Streep? You know? Uh, yeah, she talked about it on her interview with Women in the World in 2020.
Mhm.
Um, and basically with that, it's like if we're already bringing like the 10 out of 10, you know, we should always try to push for 15 out of 10. You know,
Mhm.
like that's how I feel about it. We should allow everyone to have the benefit of the doubt because these other people, these other races, owning these businesses are not doing nothing special, and it's not something that they built on their own. You know, so like that loyalty, that trust, that um like liability or reliability is not the same as like a new fresh black owned business, you know?
Mhm. Right. I think you get what you're saying because like we want to support our own, but we also have to be also, fair with our assessment. You know what I mean? We want
Yeah.
to see black representation, but we also want to make sure that it is good. So
Yeah.
again, I am not judging Black Sans content or in terms of like or their comic book or whatever, but I am judging the CEO Manuel uh of his actions and reacting to negative feedback. Not everybody like he needs to be a Tyler Perry and just be about his business. Tyler Perry gets, flanked from left and right in both sides about his work. But at the same time, like he has his own studio lot and he still be making Medea movies. He's still making that money. At the end of the day, it don't. He still has a solid fan base that keeps growing, and that's still supporting him. So sometimes the negative critiques don't stop your bag, but your reaction and poor judgment towards going after these negative feedback that does affect your bag eventually.
Right.
So yeah, we'll hope that maybe he can later come out with an apology and just, kind of smooth things over because again, you're a whole grown man that could have $1 million, if not $1 billion idea in the industry. But like, if I again, if y'all know who the reviewer is, please go support her and hopefully she can get her page back. All right. On to even darker news.
Oh.
So Tennessee bans drag, but not assault weapons. So as you may recall, I think did the mass shooting happen last week or the week before? It happened in late March, and this Christian school uh was a victim of a mass shooting. Three students died. It was like three students and three teachers were killed. Total of six lost in this senseless act of violence. And Tennessee, the people of Tennessee has had enough. They first let me say this before I get into like the story. Me as a black educator in the hood, so to speak, and we have a lot of students that have experienced uh violence or gun violence at a very young age. Like they're coming from all over the district in underserved communities and have to deal with this trauma. But to be like in a school building where they are supposed to be safe or they feel safe. because we have security, we have a school resource officer, we have metal detectors. We're actually we were teachers were communicated to be extra vigilant, and pay attention if a student maybe at risk at harming themselves or others. What I mean? We have like a system in place to ensure that school is a safe haven. And for other states, similar to Tennessee, to not have those same systems in place, and most importantly, do not have an assault rifle ban. It is negligent. It's negligent. And the people of Tennessee has had enough. It's recent, like I believe earlier this week, that our people just like stormed Tennessee's Capitol building, were protesting and standing up to these legislators that refused to do anything about it. They were real quick to pass laws that ban drag because they feel that it is an endanger to our children, feel that it is a threat for some reason. But when people actually die, when kids actually die, they don't want to do anything. And to make matters even worse, there were uh, three Democrat legislators that stood with their constituents that participated in the protest. Two of them are like two fairly young black guys. One with a very strong afro, and another one that reminds me of Pootie Tang a little bit. Kind of like his hair is straightened. That's all I gotta say. I wish I had time to put the picture up, but y'all know who I'm talking about. And I'm about to say the names in a minute. They were expelled from the legislature because they participated in a protest. The other Democrat that participated in the protest was a white woman. She didn't get expelled, but the two young black dudes, they're getting kicked out. And I'm just like, what? This is completely backwards. It makes no sense. Where is the sense? Marcel, where is, like, let me find these names of like these young black men, because to see them like they managed to be elected in Tennessee, you know, um, I've heard them speak. They're for the people. They stood by their people. They are doing what they can to advocate um for their constituents, but they're being silenced. Apparently, they're doing too good of a job, and their Republican counterparts found an issue with it and are doing what they can to kick them out. And it's absolutely disgusting. I don't know what it is about states that could like really cook barbecue, and they're being so racist, so discriminatory, so like out there. And as you saw earlier in the show, Tennessee is being really anti-gay. Like they're in the negative when it comes to like having protective laws for the LGBTQ community there. They're not helping them at all. Apparently, they're not helping the kids either. They just let them die.
Oh my God.
Like, y'all know that bullets can kill. If you've been in the military, you see the damage that an assault rifle can do to a body. Imagine that to a child. I think these were like elementary school kids. Like, hello, where are we going to get to the point in this country where thoughts and prayers is outlawed? I don't believe Republicans should be able to say that anymore because it's not working. It is not enough. The amount of time that y'all do these press releases, sending thoughts and prayers, and try to send your condolences to the family is the time that y'all could be passing effective laws to protect children. I'm tired of seeing baby-sized caskets. I'm tired of seeing mothers crying. I'm tired of seeing fathers, grown men, weeping over the loss of their child. It defines the natural order. For Republicans to say that they are so pro-life that they have worked to kill abortion rights in their state and then turn around and do nothing to protect the life of the children that are born, that are here, this is it's nothing to do with Christian values whatsoever. And we need to break that delusion. It's beyond hypocritical. It's like it's almost surreal. Like we allow them to say this out their mouths. It's just like, how do you see the pain in a parent's face that has lost their child and then you still do nothing? You still have the audacity to say thoughts and prayers instead of it's time to pass common sense gun laws. But no, Florida sees this and is like, we're just gonna let anybody have a gun without license, training, permits, and like you don't need none of that. Just get a gun. Legislatures are saying, well, like, why don't we just arm teachers and just have guns already in the building? How are these people being elected? There has to be a stricter requirement, just, if you have the money, like the donation, financial support, or like I have to do my research, like what qualifies these people to be in a seat that makes these decisions. It has to be more than an age requirement. Like I need to start seeing degrees. I need to start seeing the report cards. I need to start seeing transcripts. Like I need to see like this is exhausting. Like I'm glad to say like it may never happen at my school. But the chances of it is fairly slim because, you know, I mean, for urban schools, gun violence has been an issue. We have students that are gang affiliated. So we already knew like we needed to have certain protections in place to keep our students safe. We know that, you know? Um, but apparently these other states, they're just like, nah, we're just gonna wing it and hope for the best. But drag the gays, they gotta go. Like, where's the logic in that?
There is none.
It's like we already know that y'all are getting paid and getting your campaign donations by the NRA. That's no longer a secret. Everybody knows that's been exposed. But at some point, like, how do y'all sleep at night knowing that you're not doing nothing to protect the students, to protect kids? And then you also have to think like the after effect. like the kids that were in the school when it happened, or they may have witnessed the shooting, they're going to be scarred for life, which is later going to, like, that trauma is going to later cause behavioral issues that in certain degrees may be too severe that may get them kicked out of school, or maybe just drop out or not want to go. Not every parent has the resources to, have their child homeschooled. Like, I just need things, I just need people to, like, start having common sense. Okay. So the two, wait, both of them named Justin? That's a little weird. I'm sorry. I was looking up the name while I was doing my rant. I was also looking at the names of the representatives that were kicked out of, the Tennessee Capitol building. So there's Justin uh Pearson and Justin Jones. The two Justins, they were kicked out, but Gloria Johnson wasn't. Um, it's obvious they were kicked out not just for, like, participating in um the protests, it's clearly because they're black. I think Justin Pearson is the one with the thick afro, very, and wearing glasses, very Malcolm X. And Justin Jones is the one that looks like Pootie Tang to me. Kicked out, all because they were doing what a representative that's been elected is supposed to do. They're supposed to stand for the people. They know that their constituents that put them in office want anti-assault rifle. Sorry, let me reset. They want assault rifle bans. They want common sense gun laws like universal background checks and provide more mental health resources. They are doing their job, and yet they get kicked out. Ain't that a bitch? We need to do more to support representatives like the two Justins, because it is not enough. We've done the marches, we've done, the campaigns, we have done the art statements, we have done, like, there was recently, I forgot what school did it, but, like, a school did a walkout, and you're getting these great sound bites from the kids. It's like how they go to ban books, but not ban guns. All cute, well and done. We are to the point in this country where we are past that. We have to put certain things in motion where they can no longer ignore the cries. You gotta hit it where it hurts. You gotta hurt their wallets. Because money talks way louder than any opera singer. Okay?
That's
So
right.
so let me put you on to something. And I don't know if this is being talked about enough. France is going through it right now. So the people of France is fed up with their government because they decided to raise the retirement age from 62 to 64 and increase the number of years that you have to work in order to get your full pension. I believe this has been going on since January, but, like, in March, this story started to really pick up because everybody, there was just like, no, no, wait, no, 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 no. You know what French people are doing? French people are doing?
Like,
Millions are walking out, marching, taking the streets in like 260 locations in France. For the most part, it hasn't been really violent. It's very peaceful, but, like, people are speaking on the outrage. You have sanitation workers that have stopped picking up trash. It's just garbage in the streets. They have stopped their services. Union workers are walking out. for outrage. Now, I don't like at this point, first of all, if I was the president of like France, France is supposed to be like this gorgeous, beautiful city with the Eiffel Tower, and that was very New York, not French, excuse me. But like the Eiffel Tower, it is like very culture, the place of art, fashion. You have garbage in your streets. If I was the president of France, I'd be like, I see your point. We're gonna leave it at 62. They did like I don't think the president of France is giving in at this point, but like I could not have my country stinking. I can't. This is supposed to be like the place for like cuisine, like I said, fashion. Like it's supposed to be a beautiful, romantic city. It can't be that way if it's stinking. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
but you see how people are like mobilizing and just like you, the government needs its people. And when they stop doing what they're doing and put everything at a standstill, you are out of luck. I feel like that's the moves that we as Americans need to start doing. If we stop providing certain services or stop supporting any company or business that supports uh these legislators, these politicians, things will start to change. Because, like I said, money speaks louder than any opera singer. We need to move past the marching, the Q campaigns, the hashtags. It brings awareness, but like, what's the follow up? The reason why the bus boycott worked during the civil rights era is because black people decided to walk. And they realized black people were the main ones that were keeping the public transit system alive, and they erased segregation on the bus. Even though technically most of our kids like sitting in the back of the bus. But I digress. The change happened because they mobilized, or organized, and they got it together. Learn from France, people. En français. It's 4 minutes till Drag Race, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this show up. And I hope that you guys enjoyed. For those that stayed, here is my next clue for who I'm going to cosplay as for the upcoming Villains Ball. That is May 20th. If you don't know, if you're not aware of the contest, anybody that guessed my cosplay first, you will receive exclusive first merch that'll be coming out this late spring. Okay? So here's my next clue. My villain definitely considers himself as a royal, a whole monarch. Okay? So to hear the past clues, you need to listen to past episodes and get caught up. If you missed the live stream, don't worry. I'll post this the next day on audio as well on YouTube because I realized waiting a whole week may not be effective. But for sure, I am on multiple platforms. Anywhere you get your podcast, I am on it. I am on YouTube as well. Make sure that you follow me at Noir Vibes DC on Instagram and Twitter, as well as on Facebook, so you can get the latest updates on what's going on with the publication. Thank you again, Marcel, for being on the show. I know this was very heavy, but we needed to talk about this. Uh, yeah. So remember, you can't go wrong when you go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
So I will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.